Okay, welcome, welcome. Christina Merkley, and we have the Process Pop-Up, and it's sometime in August, or April, not August, 29th. I'm bad with dates, I always have to look at the schedule. So it's the 29th, a Thursday here. And as per our custom, we'll just sit in stillness for 10 minutes, just the opportunity to sit together across the wavelengths here. And after 10 minutes or so, we'll return to physical reality, and then we'll just see what's up. If there's any reports, both of you are present here today, have been here previously, so there might be reports to share about what's unfolding in your process, in your inner work. And then if there's anything that's coming up for rising at this moment that you want to bring to our satsang here, let me know what that is, and we'll just find our way as per usual, right? We'll see what unfolds. Okay, so with that, I'll keep one eye kind of open in case anybody else joins us. So when you open your eyes, there might be somebody else here, we'll see. But meet you back here and enjoy stillness. Okay, welcome, welcome. Thank you for that. Just kind of find our way back into the now. And we'll see what's present in terms of any reports and anything that's showing up for arising, and we'll just find our way of how to work with that. Lots of different modalities, lots of different things to approach it and meet it with.
I'll go ahead. It's Peggy here, and it's been a big day for me. I finished everything that had to be handed in for my visual coaching stuff.
Yep.
Put the package together and tried to send an email, and it was too big, just like lots of people have said. And so I thought, okay, so now I've got to figure out Dropbox, and figured that out in not too bad, actually.
Good.
20 minutes, I guess, and sent it off. So I feel really good about that. It just feels like really an achievement, and it feels like I finished what I set out to do, and we'll see, the process goes on from here for sure. But it was a big step for me in the process, and I'm really glad to have that done.
Congrats.
So I went for a bike ride to celebrate and just went along the ocean. It was so beautiful here, and just stopped at someone's house and had a tour of their beautiful flower garden, stuff like that. So really great day. And I do have something I'd love to process if there is time. And I also have people working on my roof. So there's sometimes very loud noises here. So
Okay.
I'm aware this isn't ideal.
Thanks, Peggy.
Well, I'm Denise. I'm not exactly sure what to report.
You don't have to if you don't care to, but it's just an opportunity. Sometimes because, like, you know, you've been here for previous gatherings and different things have unfolded. So sometimes reports are along that nature, or whatever you care to or not. You don't have to. Yeah.
Well, I've been doing some shifted exercises that I didn't do well lately. I don't know if to report about that or just that this week was a horrendous week for work and as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little too much. So I'm feeling like I'm not coming in at my best. I'd like to be able to totally focus, and it's been a little hard. I'd like to say that 10 minutes of silence is not that hard, but it is.
Yeah.
For me, I need to build up to it a little better, or more often. So I'm not centered, or even though we did 10 minutes, it was hard.
Not centered is welcome here. And all this meditation is different every time. And sometimes it's glorious and sometimes it's not, the complete opposite. It's all welcome, all okay. Nothing done wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So does that seem like a report?
Yep. Yeah, and it gives me a sense. Yeah. I imagine, and you certainly don't need to go into any details, but I imagine your daughter's still in the hospital, is she?
She's supposed to go home tomorrow.
Mm.
I'm a little apprehensive about it, just because, well, it's not like we haven't had enough experience with the hospital, because we have, but somehow it's just a mother thing, you know. I'd like to not be this fragile about it, you know, but Can I be helpful? Can I stay out of her stuff? You know, all that
Mhm.
stuff that I've done this long enough to know how this works. But somehow the heart still speaks,
Yeah. Hello,
even when
heart.
the knowledge is there.
Yeah. Hello, head. Hello, heart. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, Denise. Yeah. Well, we may return, but I'm kind of feeling a pull to Peggy, and then I'll swing back depending on what happens. Gives you a bit of a breathing room. Yeah.
Denise, it's exactly what I want to go into is heart. And I I have this knowledge that I'm multi-leveled. So there's the physical me, which is very much here and often crashes into things and things happen to it. But there's also the emotional me, which comes out quite clearly and quite often in the sessions that I've done with Christina. And then there's the mental me, which is the kind of the me that actually got something done today and feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the spiritual me, and I would really like to make a deeper connection with the spiritual me. And so I'm kind of exploring ways, and I've done a lot of this in my life just because of things that have happened and things that I've been fortunate enough to learn and things. But just I want to walk that spiritual road more often, and yet I don't want to lose touch with reality. And so for me, there's like this wonderful spiritual place where I know I'm just a bundle of energy, like not literally like what you think of as somebody who's a bundle of energy, but I know that there's just like this energetic thing going on that is what's driving me. And yet I feel like there's a need in our world to be very aware of everything. Um, Family, for one, and work for another, and um, just people around us for another. But there's another part of me that just feels so utterly happy when I'm at my spiritual place. And that's a place that I want to explore a little more and how to get there. So the meditation is one way, but I think there's lots of other ways, and I'm hoping that this will be relevant to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, so there's a couple things. I was already feeling it, and sometimes this is the way it goes with process pop-up, right? I start to feel even before it happens what might. I was feeling constellation, and just as you're talking too, it'll depend. There's multiple ways we can do it. So, Denise, if you're game, and this actually might work with your situation because it allows you to get into somebody else's situation instead of your own. So you might be up for being a representative, right? And hey, you get to be potentially a representative for the spiritual self. That could be kind of handy to tap into that. Yeah. Is that the noise that happens, or is that something else that's going on? I just heard like a hissing. Yeah.
Not here.
No. Well, okay. No, it was through your audio, but I guess it wasn't the roof guys. Okay.
I can put something in.
Or the spiritual self was already talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I just pulled up was the beginning of the series of templates I have for doing constellation work. And it's called chair work. If we were here in person, you would come up and sit in a chair beside me, and we'd be with a circle full of people in a room. And so we're doing kind of the electronic version of that with the small group. So in this chair work process, we're just kind of figuring out, circling around what it is that we would apply the constellation method to. So I know for one, I know we've got you, right? So it'll probably be the components that would be represented, the parts of the system. Peggy's going to be one of them. The spiritual self is going to be another. And I also heard a lot of the how to get there, right? Just kind of like the practicality stuff. And you had rattled off physical, mental, emotional, and then you went to spiritual, and then you really settled on the spiritual. And then I heard something like practical, which is often the doer, right? And you also said how, how do I get there? So it might be the practical or the doer. It might be those three that we place. Funny enough, we've got three of us here, or at least as a starting. There's you, there's the spiritual self, and then there's, you tell me whether it's called the doer or the practical self or the physical self. Just let me know how that lands. Does that seem?
Yeah,
apropos?
doer sounds great.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And if there was an intention inquiry, help me with the language around the spiritual self. Like you opened like with the heart, and then you went into spiritual. So is it like increasing the heart or coming more from the heart, or?
It is about, living from the heart, definitely.
Yeah.
And being aware that there's the energy that is flowing that makes me is there. And so it's complicated, but it's that awareness that this physical body is just some kind of a learning mechanism for
Yep.
And so and likewise probably all of the other stuff too, the mental, emotional, and maybe even the spiritual. I don't even know, but it feels to me like there's this intense awareness that there's so much more to me than I'm presenting to myself and to others, and I want to get in there and unpack it a bit.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I think that's a yes. In terms of those components, I'm just going to put our date in here. April 29, 2021, Process Popup. And that's our first one. Let me give this a quick save. Ooh, no. Uh-oh, we might have some technical issues. That's a new one. Or that's the spiritual self. Woo, heavy energy in there. Just frying the, yeah.
Oh, so,
Interesting. Yeah.
I'll take a picture.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. If you can get a screenshot of that, that'll be a good backup. In worst case, I'm just going to turn my tablet on and off, and it might take care of that. You got it?
Not yet.
Nope. Okay. I'll wait.
Okay, I should have it now.
Okay. Yeah. It's not going to do anything. So I'm just going to. Oh, good. It's going to let me try to save it anyway. Oh, yeah. I've been having problems with this mouse. It looks like it's a mouse issue again. Well, there's lots of ways we can do this. Even I can't use the visual thing. Oh, and the screen sharing just crapped out. Zoom just, yeah, I just updated Zoom again. The last time I went through a Zoom update, this happened too. One sec. I'm just going to try. And if I can't get the sketchbook to come up and cooperate, then we'll default to the physical way of doing this. Wow, something's really goofy. Trying to click on my sketchbook and it's doing something, a completely different program. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Give me one sec. I'm going to log in on another computer just in case this one craps out on me. So do you guys happen to, from the invitation that you went in, actually I can do it this way maybe. I can get back onto Zoom. I just want to do the invite so I have the number to get in here. Invite. I'm going to put it in the chat so I have it.
Oh, okay. I've got it here if that would help. The meeting ID.
Exactly. That's what I'm going for. So I'm going to go
Okay.
over to my other computer and log in with it.
Okay.
And let's see. Sorry, this happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Good old technology.
And what's Presley doing with all of this?
Oh, just completely calm in my lap asleep. Yeah, that's good.
Great.
So 840-9112. 9112-6440-6440. Hopefully it will let me in if I can get over here and let myself in. There we go. Okay. I'm going to try it one more time on this computer. If not, I'm going to switch. Okay, that should be muted, so I have no feedback. And one more time. Come on, sketchbook. Oh, what do you know? It's going to come up. Hey. I'll share my screen in a sec. I'm just bringing up the next map. It actually let me get back in here, which is great, hopefully. Okay. Fun with Zoom. Okay, we'll see. If I screen share again, if it'll work. Turn off my video over here so you don't have two of me and that's distracting. All right, we're back in business. Add a couple layers, take a sip of water.
Yeah, important.
Okay, here is what we call now the floor work, right? We did chair work, sitting there talking about it. If we were in person, have either of you done in person? I know you've done online constellations, Peggy. Is this your first time with constellation at all, Denise? Yeah, okay. I'll do a preamble about it. If we were in person, right, this method can be done in person. It can also be done beautifully online. If we were in person, we would be in a physical room, and it would be a very bare room with basically a floor, right, like in the middle, and chairs in a circle. Maybe other stuff around us back there, but it's open space to roam. And that's what this template represents, is the floor. It's like the chandelier view. If we were up in the chandelier looking down at the floor. Now this is called the floor or the space or the field. And I'm gonna draw Peggy and myself because she's up here side by side with me in a way if we were in person. And we've got our small group. So we've got Denise over here as well. And right now we're all kind of in the observational position. We haven't stepped into the floor. And we've had a conversation about what we're going to do the constellation to. And so there's components. So there's Peggy, that's one component. And then there's the spiritual self is the other component. And then we said the doer, right? So we kind of got those three components, at least to start with. There's more things that might emerge as we get going here. So multiple ways we can do this, but if we do have other people, like we have a few other people here, there's the opportunity, it's called representing. And the person who I'm working with, which is Peggy in this case, Peggy's the driver, right? So like a lot of the methods I do here, the inquiry, it's a way of connecting with consciousness. So consciousness is working through Peggy, sorry, with what she's bringing to the table here. And there's an opportunity for her to ask us to assist her in her work in understanding these component parts that she's wanting to explore more. And so it's called repping. And if you haven't been here or done any of this stuff before, like a lot of things, it requires just kind of a leap of faith to jump in and try it. But everybody that I've done it with to date can and is capable of doing this, and it's part of the human species, right? And it's a method, it's a spatial method, and which means that these components have a spatial relationship to them. So in a second here, I'm going to ask Peggy to place these components on the board. And in order to do that, you're going to pick from your options, and you're going to ask either myself, your own self, Denise, to be the representative for that component. So either being yourself, being the spiritual self, or being the doer. And Peggy, we're all following Peggy's hunches here. So Peggy is going to know who she wants to ask to be what. You can always pass if you don't want to do it, because there's lots of other ways I can do this, even with just the three of us. So don't worry if you're uncomfy or you don't want to do it. No biggie, just say pass, and we'll go with some of the other options. But Peggy will just know where that thing belongs on this floor. And don't ask me why, how. This is right brain stuff, right? Intuition, right brain, human animal species kind of stuff. But everything has a spatial relationship, funny enough. So these things will have a place that they just belong on the floor. And then when you go in and you're repping, what you'll do is you'll throw your consciousness. I'll be drawing circles here, and there'll be things that represent noses. So which way is it pointed on the floor? And then you'll be asked to rep. So that means you just get over there, jump your consciousness into that circle, and report out on what it feels like. And it's not, you got to let go of the head, because we've been talking a bit about what it is, right? And you'll probably, we could do this blind, but we're not going to. We're going to know what we're inhabiting. So then we have to really kiss the intellect and the mind and say, thank you for sharing, but goodbye. And you're going to go more into the body, into the somatic, and just report what it feels like, right? And any kinds of senses, movements, things that want to happen, you'll just report out on that. And lo and behold, that stuff will contain some interesting information. And it will guide us, just like inquiry guides us, right? When we meet stuff, same thing here with inquiry. It'll guide us as we meet it and find out what's there. There will be something naturally that shows us what the next layer or movement might be, and we'll follow that. And sometimes it might mean bringing on other components. It might be all sorts of things. There might be sentences to be said, whatever, right? It's different every time. So we won't know till we get there what wants to kind of happen. Safety-wise, if it gets intense, intense good or intense negative, just remember that you can dip a toe into the energy. You don't have to jump in whole hog, right? In order to give a report, you can just go, oh, it's this, right? You don't have to like, oh, it's this, and it's take me over, and all this kind of stuff, right? It's like, no, you don't have to go all dramatic on it, although that's fun. Or scary, or, all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, no, we don't have to be drama queens about it. We can just like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Yeah. And if that happens, I'll knock you out of it. I'll say, back out, just leave a toe in, please. Or even get you the heck out of there if it's too much or, too weird or whatever it might be. Yeah. So plenty of safety, and you can't get hurt and you won't do anything wrong. And you'll leave it back with her at the end. So it's all about boundaries, right? So there's a process we do at the end to shake it off, let it go. And usually when you're repping something, it holds really interesting information. And these are pretty good choices to choose from, but sometimes there's some really interesting so-called negative things, right? That you might be asked to rep, and I get them a lot when I do constellation, and I always kind of laugh. But there's it can be multiple things about why somebody would pick you for something that you think is bad or negative or whatever. Whatever it is, it's usually, there's usually something very powerful in there for that person too, right? And this is one of the ways that we can expand our knowledge about things, is by repping. And the synchronicities usually abound about who shows up when, what things get repped, how perfect it is for that person to rep, to be involved in a constellation. It's usually on our learning edge of whatever it is that we're unfolding in consciousness with too. So, so it's usually a real treasure and a real gift. And Peggy, anything would you say, because you've been in the private visual satsangs of mine with this, and it's been a really powerful method, right, in those groups. So feel free, you're muted right now, so feel free to unmute.
That's very, very true. I just think of many things that I've done. This is the one thing, the one method that really allows incredibly deep work and without effort almost. It is just the shifting into that place. And yeah, I'm happy that I couldn't figure out how we were going to do this. And you just, oh, let's do constellation work. And I'm going, oh yeah, that'll be really interesting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, yeah, good. So with that preamble, Denise, let us know if you're game to be a rep. It doesn't mean you will be one, but if you're game to be one, then let us know. Otherwise, we'll figure out other options.
Absolutely. It sounds interesting.
Yep, she's game. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, Peggy, you've got 3 things you need to place: yourself, spiritual self, and doer. You can start in whatever order you want to. Which one would you like to start with?
I'll start with Peggy.
And who would you like to be your rep for Peggy?
Denise.
So you will walk on over to Denise and say, would you be my rep?
Denise, I would be really pleased if you would be my rep and be Peggy for this constellation floor work.
I would love to. I may need a little guidance, but I would love to, yes.
Okay.
We will guide and help. No worries. Yeah, awesome. So if we were in person, Peggy would come behind you and gently put her fingertips on your shoulders and just guide you into this space. And she would just intuitively know where the right thing. Sometimes they kind of meander around a little bit and go, is it here? No, is it here? No, it's here. So we can just kind of do that. Just kind of imagine you're walking on over to Denise, putting fingertips lightly on the shoulders and then guiding. And you start to kind of find your way here into this template. And you guide me. You might be able to see the grid marks up at the top. It says 1 through 11. Yeah. And then vertical it goes A, B, C, D, E, F. It kind of grids it so you can guide me.
So around 2 and D is
okay.
where I want to put Peggy.
Right in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can just draw a simple circle. And which way is she pointed?
She's looking into the room. So she's looking, what I would say is east.
Give me like on
towards the far wall. So right across the room, as far as she could possibly be looking.
3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of like this. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. So that's going to be P for Peggy. Okay. Now you got 2 more choices, spiritual self and doer. Which would you like to go to next? And Denise, you're just going to kind of follow on in there, and it might have probably already happened, right? So just kind of throw your consciousness into that circle for now. However that means, if your brain's going, what? Ooh, don't worry, just drop in there, and there'll probably be something. And then once we start to place these other ones, some other things might start to happen to you. So just notice, and it's more kind of a below the neck thing than above the head, like thinking. It's okay if your mind thinks about it, but there's also going to be something going on, yeah, somatically underneath in the body. And once this is all set up, I'll come back to you and I'll ask you how you are and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so which one's next? Sorry.
Christine, I would be really delighted if you would be my spiritual self. Would you be willing to play that role?
Yes, please. So you're going to walk on over to me, fingertips on shoulders, and then guide me to where is the right place.
About 8 and C.
8C, like right around here?
Yeah, right around there.
Okay. Yeah, and where am I pointed?
That is really hard. Boy, I just think of you pointed in every direction.
That sometimes happens. So I'm going to go ahead and just follow that intuition and do
Okay.
that, right? Kind of multiple Moses.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And that's going to be the spiritual self.
Right.
Okay. Now you can be your own rep too, if you want to be the doer. You could also ask me. What we can also do is just place it, and we can kind of jump in that and kind of share the role. So there's various things we can do.
Okay. I think sharing would be good. And I'm putting the doer right behind, like looking the same way as Peggy,
Yep.
and right behind her, just kind of almost pushing her a pack sack on her back, just really very
looking that way
close.
too?
Yeah, looking that way
Okay.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There's the doer.
Awesome.
Just sticking there, just always right there.
Okay. Okay, so everybody just breathe. Peggy, I'm going to invite you for now. You're going to go back and forth from this position. I'm going to have you in the doer to report out a little bit. And if need be, I can jump in there or ask Denise to jump in there. But I'm going to put you here, and this is going to be me as facilitator, okay? And so right now, you and I are here looking at these three on the board. And I'm just saying to you, okay, well done, interesting, and just kind of take that in. You're, oh, the dog wants down, 1 second. Eat, come on. And I will be in a second here. My facilitator self will kind of jump on in, softly walk through the field here on the floor and come up to each of these characters and find out what's going on. But before I do that, anything you want to say as you kind of get these placed? How are you feeling? And any sense of which one you want me to check out first?
Yeah, I think the doer first. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is go throw your consciousness over into the doer. Leave part of you in this observation seat, right? So part of you can observe this, but throw another part over there into the doer and just embody it. Get on down, nestle in. And you've got this one right in front of you. How is it to be right behind them, almost like a knapsack? They're wearing you. And then I don't know if you're aware of the other one far off there or not, but just kind of drop in there and feel what that feels like. And I'm going to start with you, actually. And so I walk over, my facilitator self leaves the seat on the side of the room and actually walks into the floor, and softly and gently, not to create too many waves, I'm walking softly over to the doer, and I kind of stand next to you and I go, wow, how is it for you? How is it for you being here?
It's where I have to be. I have to keep an eye on her and just make sure that she doesn't just do ridiculous things.
Okay, good. Keep an eye on
Peggy.
And keep an eye on Peggy, and keep so she doesn't do ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I'm aware of her emotional self, and I'm kind of a protector as well. So she doesn't sense me that way, I don't think, but I feel like I'm kind of protecting her.
Okay, great. And let me just ask this, because you said the emotional self. Where's the emotional self? Should we place the emotional self on the board?
It would be right around the Peggy, so it would just be another circle around.
Oh, okay, kind of all around her like this?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's the emotional self.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to that. Thank you, nice report. Hang tight, doer, I'll come back to you. And why don't I go on over, and I'm gonna come next to Peggy. That's gonna be you, Denise. And you're the rep in there as Peggy, so I'll refer to you as Peggy. So I'll kind of stand over there and I'll just say, how is it for you? A whole lot has happened. You got onto this board, and then two other characters were placed, one right behind you and one in front of you. And then the one behind you spoke a little bit, and it also kind of evoked this other one all around you. So that's a lot, but anything you want to share about what you noticed as those things were unfolding.
Well, it's a lot of familiar,
Mm,
the emotional as well as the protect and watch out and making sure. I'm not even sure making sure what, but
mm-hmm.
it's just very familiar and um, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. Any awareness about that one in front of you? Not sure what you're aware of or not aware of, but it just makes me curious.
Well, that's the word, curious.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you have some curiosity.
How far away? What's there? Do we get to go that way?
Ah, thank you very much. Great report. That was great, Denise. Good. Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to just walk back over to my client. So back over to Peggy, who's sitting there, and kind of walk off the field a little bit here and go, whoa, okay, so we've got 2 information already. I can hear you saying that's great. So any observations about just even that little bit of info gathering?
A lot of curiosity about spirituality and the spiritual self. Yeah, and holding back at the same time. There's this dynamic tension, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
that's going on. And I'm getting curious about how the spiritual self is reflecting on this.
Okay, excellent. So with your permission, then I might as well go check out the spiritual self next. Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and do that on your behalf. So I step softly again back into the floor and gently and softly and calmly without ripples, as much as possible, just walking on over to that spiritual self one. And then the other aspect of me is actually inhabiting it. So give me a second. I'm just going to inhabit it in there and give it a report. Whew. Energy just went up like a billionfold. It just went into like a whirling dervish, like a Taurus. Is that the right word? The energy Taurus stuff that goes. It's like those infinity figure 8 kind of things. It's universal galactic kind of stuff. It's energy, right? It's self-perpetuating energy. In terms of like, I'm just really aware, like, boy, jumping in here just was a quantum leap. Toroidal, that's the word, toroidal energy. Yeah, I'll write this down too while I'm giving the report, coming back and forth between consciousness. So toroidal, something like that. I've also got, it's just my own reference points. I've done a lot of work with Abraham Hicks, right? And just the high vibration frequency. Also, you'll see the pictures behind me. You might not be able to see it from the distance, but I think you've seen some of my art before. They have orbs in them. I was actually visited by an orb and different kind of light stuff. And so it's got that sense too of like circular energy, like just like, so I'll just put that orb. And I that whole 360 is definitely there. I don't associate to a nose, but it's like all conscious, right? Put that down. All conscious, omni aware. It's not just, if we could draw it, it would be everywhere, like underneath too, the noses, right? Like the awareness is like 360, not just the way it's depicted in the graphic. Limits of having to work in a 2D graphic. I'm also aware, it went kind of galactic on me. It's just my word. So it's like solar system. So this orb thing kind of then feels like a planet. I'm aware of other bodies, like other celestial or solar kind of bodies or something. So it's part of a system. And I would even go as far, now the word is coming, team. As big, as magnificent and energetic as it is. There's like, oh, it's we're doing constellation, but it's like a constellation, right? You get the bing, bing, bing. There's others around, and you're part of that system or mobile or constellation. I guess this is, I would say, star family too. Again, these are just physical words to try to describe something that's kind of difficult to describe. I have no awareness. I'm like, facilitator in me is like, hey, are you aware of anything else on the board? So that part of me is like, you know, it's just like beaming this energy, aware of these other equal entities of energy too. I guess I have way, way, way down on the far right or left, I guess it is. I'm aware of it, but it's very, 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 very small and very down there.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So I'm going to just step out, and as the facilitator, I'll thank the spiritual self for that information. And I'm two things. I'm feeling pulled to go to you outside and just see my client, facilitator to client. And then I'm really aware, I'm curious as the spiritual self, you know, shared information and talked about the energetic. I'm wondering about these characters over here and what, if anything happened for them. I can see one of them nodding. So something happened. Yeah. So let me go over to, in that order. I'm just going to go over to Peggy and go, oh, cool. Peggy, thanks for letting me embody your spiritual self, because she's flipping amazing. Yeah. And how, and anything anything for you, anything, how was that for you as I'm getting information from the spiritual self and reporting that out to you?
Well, when you made
Oh, 1 second. I'm going to talk to the real Peggy, and then I'm going to come to the rep Peggy.
That's
exactly,
Denise. It's exactly what I want, is for you to talk to the real,
okay, good,
rep.
perfect.
Yeah.
Let me go there. Yeah, thank you. Go for it.
Okay, so
Yes.
Okay.
You go, yes.
Well, when you made the symbol of the circle and put the S in it, and it looks like the sun, and then you mentioned the stars, and what came to mind was go towards the light. And for some reason, I don't know Peggy literally, but I see her as one of those people that will leave a little light along the path so others can find it. Is that lanterns or? I'm not
nice.
sure.
Yes. Yeah,
So
those little moon
just enough
rocks
so people can see
yeah.
the path on the way there, because you've walked it first, sort of thing.
Nice. Okay, so we're gonna kiss that, because a part of that was the mind, right? So sharing it from the intellectual, and that's interesting information even of itself. I'm going to ask you to kiss that and thank that, and then go deeper into the body. And go into the body. When I was over there inhabiting the spiritual self and I was reporting out on that, anything you recall of what was happening in the body or your occupation of that while that was going on.
You're asking me?
Yep, I'm asking you. Yep.
Okay. Well, kind of before you drew the spiritual part, I kind of had it like under the rib cage. And now that this sun or this star towards the light thing, it's in my heart, and it's like, that's where she gets her light to leave behind for others.
Okay.
Is directly
and I, because your head is
Right.
seeing that woman on the side of there, and you know this is going on for her. So we're just going to kiss the intellect and say, you're right. But let that go. And you're it. You're this, just put aside that somebody's observing this and just be the P here on that circle with the one behind and this emotional thing around, and that thing that you're relating to is a sun and a star.
Well, and in order to go that way with your heart,
with my heart,
and with everything that's you, me,
yep,
you, whichever word is right.
Yep, me. You're right. You got it. Me. You're gonna.
I have to leave the heavy stuff behind.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. So leave the heavy stuff behind. I have to too. So that's interesting energy. I have to leave the heavy stuff behind. Okay. Thank you. Anything else that's very present? So there's words in there. I have to leave the heavy stuff behind. Is there a feeling? Is there emotion to that? Is that, how is it to articulate, I have to leave the heavy stuff behind?
Well, with someone directly behind me who's kind of watching everything, I get self-conscious. And in an energetic way is different than in the head.
Yeah, I can see you're doing great. I can see you're in it. Perfect.
And yet it's so foreign that I want it and I'm afraid of it.
Okay, very good.
Because it's so foreign.
So foreign. Good. So there's a conflict here. I want it and I'm afraid of it. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent job. And you got it, Denise, as a rep, right? That was helpful with the head and that intellectual, but boy, you got it when you went in there and reported. That's what we're looking for. Excellent. Yeah. Whew. Whew. Now I'm going to go invite you to, I'm going to walk over to the doer. And so part of your consciousness, Peggy, is in there. And I'm just going to check on you. Hey, you over here, back here, there's been some stuff happening. That far one over there spoke, and the one in front of you spoke and articulated some things. And how was it for you?
I feel like the emotional self has come and sort of embraced me, but also I feel kind of pushed away. I'm not curious in the same way at all.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like I need the warmth. I need the security of having a job, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're a doer. You're wondering what your job is. You're like, I feel kind of left out here. Is there a job for me?
Yeah. But at the same time, I do feel like that emotional cloud has moved over to me and is comforting. Yeah, I'm just, the spiritual stuff it's as far away from me as the spirit felt like it was away from the whole constellation board. So it's just not that I'm not attracted there at all. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't really want to leave Peggy, but I kind of just want to sit still for a while. I just want to not do for a while.
You want a break, huh?
Yeah.
Want to not do and sit still. Okay, thank you. It's information. I may come back to you. That might be allowable to be arranged. We'll see. Yeah, I can hear the desire, the longing in there for the doer, to just sit. You want to sit for a while. And I'm also hearing that you don't really relate to that one out there, that spiritual one. And you're feeling that emotional self, and I'm going to go check too with Rep Peggy, just to see if that felt authentic for you too. I don't know if the emotional self is completely moved off of Peggy or it's just expanded to encompass the doer, but it sounded like the doer kind of appreciates that cloak of the emotion brought some warmth. Am I right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So let me just go check with Peggy rep, because the emotional stuff I haven't really got a rep for. So I'm just going to check. So Peggy, do you, the doer behind you was reporting that some of that emotional self that was around you moved back there. Is that accurate for you? Do you?
Yes, it's being refined,
Mm.
more of a choice instead of a heart choice instead of just happening to you.
Ooh, okay. Right. So emotion is not just happening, but it's actually a heart choice. Thank you. Interesting information. I'm going to walk back over to the doer and say, doer, both you and Peggy are helping me understand this emotional self. And Peggy in front of you was saying it's instead of it just kind of happening, it's more of a heart choice is the way that Peggy's understanding it. How's that land for you, doer? Does that make any sense to you, or how would you say that?
I'm curious about the heart choice. It doesn't feel like I have a big heart. It feels like that part of me is underdeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
And is that heart coming from Peggy, or do you see that I have a heart too?
Ah, yeah. I can guarantee you do, doer, but I can understand why you're questioning. And I'm going to go over and I'm going to check with Peggy for you. Thank you. So I'm going to walk back over. So, wow, did you hear that, Peggy? So the doer is like intrigued about this heart. And it's like, where's this heart coming from? Is that mine? Is that hers? So how was that for you to hear the doer contemplating that stuff?
Well, I understand the underdeveloped, because I don't want to say because I so much of heart has been chosen from elsewhere, but now the heart gets to have more. I just can't come up with the words.
Oh, you're doing great.
It's like the meeting of the soul and the heart. But emotion is part of soul. It's how it's the guiding of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
If the soul can guide your heart, I mean, wow. Even if it's underdeveloped, it's going to be quite a journey. And it sounds really, why are the words not coming? Because it's not intellectual. It's the heart.
Exactly. Yeah. You're doing beautifully for it. Yeah. It's the same with me over with the spiritual. It's a hard thing to communicate. So we do
There's
the
no
best we
words.
can.
Just,
Lovely. Yes. And so there was some ahas, right? As I'm talking to Peggy the rep and you're just being heard. It's an I statement. I. So you were saying it's like this aha, like there's some connecting of the dots happening. There's some unwrapping of, universal concepts here that you're like, wow, the emotion is actually part of the soul and it's actually the guiding of the heart. How cool is that? So it's like, something just clicked. Yeah. So I'm going to walk back over to the doer and I say, doer, hey, you can see Peggy there. She's like starting to piece together things from her point of view. How was that to hear her piece those things together? How's it land for you or not? Or
Yeah, I could feel, you mentioned the word cloak earlier, but it was like this very warm wrap of emotion. And that did feel like, maybe I can bring this into my heart. Maybe I can do from the heart. Maybe I can still do, but I can do heartfelt
yay.
doing. Yeah, very, it's a learning thing. I feel very new at it, very young and inexperienced, but I feel like there's an opportunity to let that emotion seep in and let that soul growth happen in my doer self.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
Whoa. Soul growth for doer self. Okay, so just grokking with that, just connecting with that, welcoming that. Yes, please. Yes, please. Good idea. Wow, cool concept. Feeling that embrace and that warmth. And it's okay if it's new and feels young and it's emergent.
And
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued too. Like Peggy can go and go towards spirit or go wherever she wants to go, because I just heard a while ago that she's going to leave little bits of light. So I can follow her easily. So I'm not so, I don't feel like I have to be so protective anymore. There's that is shedding at the same time as I'm getting a new cloak. I'm shedding my old cloak. Yeah.
I'm just going to get the bits of light in here too, because you're relating them to them too. And so I might not have them in the exact right placement. And if it's super wrong, intelligence will tell me, but hopefully it could live with it as it is. And so now I'm going to go back over to Peggy Rep and just say, well, wow, what do you know? Doer is agreeing with your insights and now is also intrigued, now has curiosity and is realizing, you know, there's doing for me everywhere. Oh, there's all these little bits of light and the path that's being forward and laid out for others, and all that has doing. And it's new, right? It's doing with heart, and which is guided, as you were saying, it was guided by the soul, which guides the heart, which the doing follows and participates in. Wow. How is it for you as the doers kind of connecting with what you were realizing?
Well, at first, I was sort of feeling like I would abandon the doer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the unknown doesn't have to be scary, that you get to start and go any direction you want. And if you wish to follow the sparks of light, you know, in the same direction, or even put, you know, your own path, it's, I don't no longer, I know now that with the heart growing in a soul way, again, no words, jeepers,
Mm-hmm. Doing great.
that you're going to either follow that particular path with the sparks or create your own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay that community of Peggy is okay.
Mm-hmm. Just put that community of Peggy, these sparks of light. Beautiful. I'm going to go over and check. I'm feeling my curiosity pulled to the spiritual self. So I'm going to go over there and then embody and report. Oh, I just have a big smile. if a spiritual self could have a smile, I have one on my face listening to that. And my heart is all warm and I feel it connected, well, all over there, right? The sparks of light I'm connected to, and the whole cloak around those two I'm connected to, and I'm connected to hearts in both of them. And there's a lot of glowy stuff around them too. I am just delighted. And I find myself turned around too. Now that all this connection is going, I'm like turning around and kind of facing this way, right out. If I'm to erase the, I'm just going to stop for a second here. I'm going to share this. Hopefully it'll share. Good. Yes. Just thinking, because I think the next thing I took a screen share of that, so I'm just going to quickly, we've got it captured. So I'm going to quickly erase this because movement's starting to happen with the spiritual self. So one sec, as I erase what's happened to date here so that we can see the movement more clearly. And I've got things on various layers, so I'll go grab it on the other layer I have it on too. Okay. Mhm. That can stay. Okay. So now what I'm wanting to do, just to represent in my reporting from the spiritual self, this is still all omnipresent, but there's kind of like a, maybe it's more of a finger or something, right? It's pointing the way. There's a real direction, onward ho. Yeah. And all of feeling connected to everything that's left here. So, see if there's anything else from there to communicate. No, it's just very much like, humming. It's like a, definitely a tone, right? Like a certain tone to it, like, om. Yeah. In that direction, and like a come here and follow me, let's go. Yeah. And then that constellation, all those others, I can feel them kind of here, right? This other kind of family, if you will, of other souls or something. Right? Kind of go there, come with them, let's go. So I'm going to come out of that and return to my facilitator role. I'm just aware of my client, so I don't want to leave my client alone out watching this too long. So Peggy yourself, I'm going to walk over to you, who's sitting there, observing this. Part of you's been embodying the doer, and you've been watching this all go down. So I just want to check, eyeball to eyeball. And how are you? A lot's been unfolding here.
Yeah, that's the last little bit was really interesting because it felt like a real invitation, not just to Peggy, but to the doer to just come see, come be curious, come explore, come.
Yep, come with
come
me.
look at,
Yeah.
And the sparks to me kind of look like popcorn, and I just feel like they need to look more like just sparks of light, just little, almost like fireflies or something like that. So, yeah.
And so how would I do that? What do fireflies look like to you?
Well, I just think like just lines coming off in 6 or 7 directions from a central point.
Okay, very good. I can do that. Yeah, good. So less shape and more. Now let me check though. Let me check with Peggy the rep. How is that for you? That description, is that all right?
Oh yeah, it needs to be sparkly, like
Okay.
but mysterious kind of.
Okay.
Almost like they are right now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that look too ant-like or too?
You know how you have on your maps when somebody gets to the top of the hill, there's like these lines coming out around
Sparkle
them.
marks? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kind of
Okay.
think of.
Oops,
But
sorry, wrong.
Peggy, does that work for you?
I can leave them without. Can be the limitations of me anyway. Let's try this. How about
There you go.
Okay.
Because they have movement, kind of.
And I think next, Christina, I'm kind of curious if Peggy wants to move. from
Yeah,
your
I'm going.
side.
Yeah, I'm going there. Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me see. Let me go check with the doer.
Okay.
So doer, a lot of things are continuing to unfold here. So I'm just checking to see how is it for you?
Uh, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. I'm feeling more whole. I'm not as attached to Peggy, and I'm feeling, yeah, more curiosity.
And if you're not attached, does that mean you're in the same position, but you feel not as attached to her? Or is there
Yeah.
any sort of movement for you?
Okay.
Or
Yeah, I could move easily too. Yeah, I could move down and to the right, so more over towards a two-ish position, and down sort of E-ish. So just
down here. Is that right? Over
yeah,
here?
yeah. And
Kind of
I'm really
beside?
curious, maybe a little bit back still. Can it be sort of halfway? That's good.
That's good there. Yeah.
Yeah, and looking towards S.
Okay. Thank you. One sec. Okay, good. How's that? Right position?
Great. Yeah.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to grab my emotional cloak, please.
Okay, I'll get that and bring that over. Yeah, yeah. That was on a different. That was on a different layer, so
I
we'll,
know,
we'll take
I
care of
know.
that. Yeah, yeah,
I don't want to lose it. I don't want to leave
yeah,
it behind.
yeah. We'll bring that all with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, very important. Okay, very good. So we got that happening here.
And I'm feeling comfortable. Like there's this sense of comfort and ease that I haven't felt for a long time.
Yes, please. Comfort and ease.
Yeah.
How nice. Okay, doers feeling comfortable and at ease. I'll just write that down. Okay, now let me go over and check with Peggy. So Peggy, boy, lots happened here too in the last little while, all over and around you. That one behind you has moved their position and their orientation, taken that energy around them still. How is it for you?
Well, the journey, I'm curious about those other circles that that, ooh, there's not just the spiritual self, there's like, words.
I know I struggled with it too. I mean, it's like I said, like constellation, network, family. I don't know. It's like an organism or something. I don't
Well,
know.
you
That
know
was my best kick at it. Yeah.
how when you have like a friendship and your friend has a friendship outside of you, but you get the benefit of their friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, how
So
nice. The
it sort of
friends.
like expands the energetic word. There's it's such an intriguing um um, I would say an energetic network. But
Yeah. Great word.
it's a good word, but it doesn't quite cover it.
Right.
You get to go in and out of different little groupings of, you know, experiences with energetic people, or light experiences.
Beautiful. Soul family, in and out, different groupings, light experiences, intriguing, and friends, and expansion. Yes, please. Yes, please. Yum, yum, yum.
Well, it's like mixing colors, you know, you can yellow, you know, and then you get a different color because of the combination of different energies, different colors.
Yes.
That energetically one person's intimidated by something, another person grows and expands. But I'm not sure I'm explaining myself.
Oh, you're doing gorgeously.
Well, and you add shape to it and dimension and messages. I mean, it's like your heart has all these options. It's sort of like a buffet of energetic coolness. I'm hungry, sorry.
No, great word.
I love
Buffet,
it.
options, choices. Yes, please. Yes, beautiful. And are you content where you are? Is there any movement you're aware of out there? And you just described that
Well,
deliciously. And yeah.
I still am a little intimidated by being Peggy. But I would just have sort of one of those curling paths to, and again, I don't know if that's a movement or that's where we're going, or there's one way.
What's the impulse? Let go of the brain, kiss the brain, get in there and see if there's any natural movement that wants to happen from that circle. There doesn't have to be, but
Well,
just see if there's anything.
There's so much drawing, you know, the point, the drawing towards, and it's, yeah, just, and so free and easy and just, does that seem right, Peggy? I don't,
Yes. You're doing great. Don't just kiss the mind, because the mind wants to make sure it's doing right. But it's free, it's easy, it's kind of meandering, it's flowing, it's really directed towards that move forward, but it's not like in a straight line, right? It's just like,
you said the word delight. It's a heart delight, a soul delight. And it's delight, the light.
Cool. Heart and soul delight. Yes, please. Yes, please.
I love that it's not a straight line.
I'll just even do it like this.
Yeah. It's so not worldly. It's like you say, the galactic, where does light go? Everywhere. And pattern and ease and sometimes people can follow it, sometimes people can't. Some days I can do it really easily, and other days not so much. But it's a human experience with an energetic journey. Did that make sense? Follow your curiosity.
Follow own it, my.
Well, yeah.
But it's general, universal too, right? Yeah.
It's also the doer's curiosity too. So
Yeah.
Good. I thank you, Doer. Let me go over and check with the Doer. How you doing, Doer? There's a lot of stuff just emitted from the one who's beside you here.
Well, no wonder I was sticking close. She's a hard one to follow. It's just obvious that it's not going to be a straight line journey from here to the soulful self, the spiritual self. And I like it, and I'm happy with it, and I'm really pleased that it doesn't leave me behind. There's lots of clues to keep me popping in.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Good. And you're kind of more companions side by side. You're a little back. So Peggy's leading, but you're not like, you know. Yeah.
And it's not the endpoint, it's the journey. Like it is obvious to me sitting here that it's not where, it's not getting to spirituality. It's the journey to get there. That's the really important thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, one sec. It's not the end point, it's the journey.
Yeah.
Okay, just check, both of you, Doer and Peggy, any final words that want to come, statements, movements, just checking you're both content or whatever.
I'm very, very grateful,
Mhm.
my surrogate Peggy, for.
Oh, hold on. I wanted to check with Doer first.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think you're ready to, I'm just checking though
Yeah.
before
Okay.
we
Doer
get to
is
that.
very content.
Okay,
Right now.
Doer's good. Yeah. How about Peggy?
I like the different ways to do Peggy. I really like that you can do it.
I, be her.
Yeah, Peggy is the community of Peggy. I love it.
I am the community of Peggy. Yeah. I love this community of me. Let me put that community of me. Community of Peggy. Community of me. Yeah. Here, right? All throughout it. Yeah. All the sparks and the swirls, that community of Peggy. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to go check over on the one I'm repping. So yeah, now there's like smiles 360, like a whole radius of smiles and arms extended everywhere and flowy. And yeah, this whole, all of this is one. Yeah. Just oneness. Oneness and all the sense of oneness on the horizontal plane, oneness on the vertical, everything's all connected. Just big warm heart. Oh, and feeling heart feeling it back. So it's that flow of love and that high vibration and it's different wattages, right? So the big ones there that are at the same level as I am, the spiritual self, those other spiritual selves, right? They're holding it at a certain density or energy, and it's very large and big, and they're all the same. And those little sparks and those two back there, the Doer and Peggy, I don't want to bowl them over. So I'm a little protective, like with the other ones here. It's like, hey, tread softly. It's like me and the little dog. I got to move softly, right? Not too many drastic movements, not too fast, just don't want to overpower or startle. Yeah. So I'm just very gentle and just very aware that I'm pretty big. I'm pretty big, and I don't want to like boom, like so I just walk. I'm very gentle and very soft with my movements because I don't want to overpower them, but they're on their way to beingness, so it's like, come on, and just aware of the community, and there's larger beyond us, and then it's the sense of all, right? It's non-dual, it's one. All these different levels and hierarchies of wattage and stuff, but it's all connected. It's all one big thing. And also a bow to the dark, because we've been talking about light, but this is all embedded in the dark, right? So it's embedded in that substratum that it all rests in, that kind of antimatter and matter.
You wouldn't see the light if it weren't for the dark.
Yeah, in fact, it's wanting it on here, so I'm just going to do a little background of the dark in here too. Like in space, it's embedded in space here. Outer space, inner space, yeah. That interplay, yin and yang. All part of it, one big connected system. Yes, please. Okay, so with that, I'll pull my energy back. And we will do the release. And so you will release your reps. You can do it whatever order you want to, but who do you want to start with for your releasing? And then I'll guide you.
Christina, I will start with you.
Yeah. Release me from the spiritual self.
Christina, I would like to release you from the spiritual self. And I would like to thank you for representing the spiritual self in such a wonderful way. I just, I felt like this was a challenging subject, but you two made it so easy. So I want to honor your role in this and the heart and the soul that you put into it. And thank you.
Thank you. Yes, what a delight to embody your spiritual self. Thank you. And what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. So
what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine.
Yeah, return that back. And then you have Peggy, your Peggy rep, and the doer, and then you'll release me as the facilitator.
Okay, Peggy rep. I can't say thank you enough. That was a beautiful walk, dance, a beautiful performance, a beautiful thing to watch. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate how much determination and effort you put into this. And I release you from this role of Peggy, and what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine.
And you'll say that back to her, Denise. What's yours is yours.
What's yours is yours. What's mine is mine. And thank you for the opportunity to experience this through you across all time and space.
Yeah, repping can just be a really phenomenal experience. Yeah, an honor. Yeah. And then you're going to release yourself as the doer.
Okay, doer, I want to honor the work that you did from that place where you were a little bit timid and fearful to the place where you feel open and embraced in emotion, and I appreciate the work that you did to be the doer in this relationship between Peggy, spiritual self, and a little bit emotional self, which surrounds you. So I release you from this constellation, and what's yours is yours, and what's mine is mine.
Right. And doer saying the same thing right back to you.
What's yours is yours.
Yeah, we might as well do, you did it too, but let's do the same thing for the emotional self, even though we didn't fully rep it, but it's there too. So same thing to that energy of you and us that inhabited that.
Yeah. And emotional self, without you, we couldn't have had this relationship evolve the way it did. So thank you for playing the role that you did in the constellation. I release you from this constellation. What's yours is yours. What's mine is mine.
Great. And then finally, you'll release me as the rep, so you can say whatever thanks. You already did.
Yeah.
And then the final line will be, and I am the best facilitator for me.
Okay, Christina, I release you as facilitator for this process, and beautiful job. Never would have imagined it from the very beginning. Thank you for this, and I realize I am the best facilitator for me.
Yes, thank you. What's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. Honor to facilitate. Thank you. And you are the best facilitator for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now we just step back and just this is not one that you really want to shake off. And so always you take a little bit, it's okay from those things that leave you glowy and the love and the stuff that connects us all as human beings, right? And there's a lot of this in your constellation. So that's gift. We take that sparkly energy and that heart energy with us. And thank you for that, Peggy. Yeah, bringing this to satsang and perfect, synchronicities of who shows up and what unfolds and trusting the process and how lovely of what we got to inhabit and experience here today.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to close?
I had a curiosity when I came, and now I have an awe. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I really appreciate each of you for your role in it, and my role, me for my role. I appreciate all of us and the work that we did today. So that's, yeah, that's what I have to say. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was our process pop-up. We never know what's going to happen. It's different every time. So that's what it was on April 29th, 2021. What happens from here is I will take these maps and the recording and we'll distribute. You're on the list, so you'll get the notification. Pat will take care of that, my assistant. I will figure out the date for the next one. Usually it's averaging about every 3 weeks or so. So if you're not getting the emails, check your spam filters, because Gmail and other places tends to put those kinds of emails there. So if you join the list, you're on it. It's probably just in a filter somewhere. And we'll just continue. I've been doing it for 13, going on 14 months, I guess. So it's sticking, and it's just a really pleasurable part of my life. So thank you for coming. And I like the magic of what happens, and really am very much trusting the process. So to be continued. Okay, take good care. See you when I next see you.